Right, so here we are. We have a pleasure of interviewing, I'd say, what one of the UK's finest alternative DJs.
Just one of them, I would say.
Yeah, you're up there. You're up there. I've always had time for what you do. So everybody watching this, meet DJ Bod.
Hello.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this, man. Thanks for doing this. So your main event is the Rapture in Northampton, right?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, been treating you all right over the time. Been running for a long time now, right?
Been doing it for 15 years now. 15 years. About 15 years. It's gone from being a very, very busy event to quite a quiet event to being online like everything else is nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. You find that a lot. People don't like coming out these days. It's a bit of a pain, but hey ho.
We're all doing it online as well, so it's a very crowded marketplace at the moment as well. So.
Yes. Yeah, seems to be that way. You've had a good bunch of guest slots around the UK as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I started DJing just doing like in a pub, just helping a mate out, and then started my own nights, and then I've done a couple of slots for Club Antichrist. Mm-hmm. I did a Bazaar magazine a couple of times as well, their Winter Wonderland thing down in London. I've done some support for some London acts as well, Machine Rocks events, and played Infest a couple of times as well. So, as well as doing the local scene sort of thing, also up and down the country, been Manchester, been Leeds. So it's all fun. It's all fun.
Sounds like it. Sounds like some good fun times. I mean, is that the way you got into DJing, just through helping that mate out and sort of falling into it, or has it always been a bit of a passion for you?
I've always liked music. As a kid, I always bought records. I was buying records when I was like 13, 14 years old. I was a massive Prince fan, so I was ordering stuff offline, etc. So music's always been something I've been really into. DJing it was just something I thought I'd have a go at. Play, see what happened, and just kind of carried on. It started humping a few CDs out to the pub with me where the guy was DJing, and then having a go for half an hour here and then to get my own kit and then put my own nights on, really. Yeah.
Not a bad way to get into it. At least you weren't what could be described.
CDs
yes, exactly. Yes. Not a human jukebox, and not what could be described as a bedroom DJ, which none of us have got time for, I don't feel.
Yeah, although nowadays it does feel a bit like not necessarily a bedroom jukebox, but more a front room jukebox.
Fair enough. Man. So what sort of stuff do you generally speaking play? Do you have a preference?
Rapture is well, it started off just being an electronic night. There was another night in town when we started, and they were doing the more goth stuff. So it was initially going to be just the electronic side of music, so EBM, the dancier side of industrial. The night we sort of were competing with us, I would say, died out eventually, and that DJ came and joined us. So we ended up encompassing the goth stuff. The EBM took off a lot more at the time, so generally it ended up being a goth EBM night with industrial. Later on, we took on a bit of the noise side and the hard dance side, but then I started doing that as a side project on a different night as well. So Rapture nowadays is goth and EBM essentially, and electronic music. Yeah.
Sounds like some great stuff there. Some great stuff you're talking about. Here we go. It's a random fun one for you. You got anything in your own personal taste that, as much as I hate this phrase, but you'll know what I mean, that some people would describe as a guilty pleasure?
The weird thing about guilty pleasure is I don't really feel guilty about anything I really like.
Exactly. That's why I hate that phrase. That's I can't stand that phrase. You know, people know what you mean when you say it.
I think with the online DJing, you've got a bit more room to move around with what you're doing, and especially as the night gets later, once you've done your sets, and if you still want to carry on, you'll roll out the stuff you wouldn't normally play. I blame alcohol for that because alcohol will generally let you want to do other stuff. And at the end of a action night, I played out an hour, 2 hours later on, and rolled out things like Two Unlimited and some Prince and some indie and some Janis Joplin a couple of times even.
Nothing wrong with a bit of Janis Joplin though.
Yeah, music's just, I find music's a mood thing. So although you're doing your set genres, etc., sometimes you just there's a mood you're in for something else. I mean, I've got this interview with Prince from years ago on tape, and they're interviewing him at the end of one of his gigs, and he's just driving home, and he's on the, I don't know how they interviewed him in the car back in them days, but they were talking to him in the car, and he said, "What are you listening to?" And he's saying, "I'm listening to some Janis Joplin." Said, "Why are you listening to some Janis Joplin? Why don't you listen to your own stuff?" Said, "I'm in the mood for some Janis Joplin for change." You know, it's just the way it is. And at the end of our rapture, once we'd put Gloria Gaynor on sometimes at the end of the night, just to empty the room, you know, or because we felt like a bit of erasure, or just something completely out the wall, something out there. Just me personally, gimme a couple of times as well. It's not
nothing wrong with them.
Nothing different. That's all.
different is
I'm still a big Prince fan. I still like my Prince music. Recently, I'm more into more darker noise, dancier, electronic music. But I'm doing a night next weekend, for example, where I'm playing sort of 80s, 90s alternative music. So I'm playing things like Whale and Old Faith No More and things like that. It just depends what you're into at the time. And I find what you have to do is you have to switch things over to get yourselves back into that frame to play that sort of music.
Yeah.
So it's just all over, anything. And when you do weddings, you've got no choice. You've got to play what they want. Taylor Swift, if you have.
Yeah, there is that. There is that. I saw from your Facebook page you did support for KMFDM. That must have been a good moment.
Yeah, I played. My brother's band supports quite a few bands when they come over. He does support for a lot of Frank Flagg's music when he comes through. He'll tour with Toya, for example, or he's done KMFDM and Ministry and people like that as well. So I got an opportunity to do the DJ support for KMFDM in Wolverhampton. So that was fun. I enjoyed that. Met the band and lovely people.
Yeah, for sure.
And also did the same for Layback in Birmingham, which was fun as well. Yeah. Didn't meet the band at that time, but yeah, just did some support for that. Frank asked me directly, I said, "Do you want to do that?" Went, "Yeah, that'd be lovely."
Nice, nice,
yeah.
fun time.
It's just something good to do.
Yeah, totally. We're talking about the fun.
The DJing side of it isn't something I do for money either. So it's I have a job. It's like everyone else, it pays the bills. The DJ stuff for me it's a hobby. It's something I do for fun. So if I get the opportunity to play something, it's something I want to do or something I like to do. Or I'll do something. I might, for example, do a friend's wedding or a friend's birthday. But all the nights we do and all the support acts that I do, they're all because I want to do them, and it's my hobby and it's something I've always wanted. I'll carry on doing as long as I get invited to, or I can fit on myself.
Sounds good. Sounds like a good thing there.
I mean, you played for us once as well. I'm sure I remember, like years and years ago, you came up here and played one of our M2M2 nights. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. I remember coming up there. I don't remember the name of the night. But you know, with the clubs, I tend to find as well over the years, there's been some So some of the favourite stories I've had have been from some of the dafter and more irritating customers. They do provide some comedy, I find. Have you got any stories like from those people you'd like to share?
Years and years, this is years and years ago. I was doing a goth night. I was playing goth music. And what did the guy ask me for? It comes up and asks me for something. It was some indie, charlatansy kind of thing. I'm like, nah, that's not goth music. I'm not playing that. Says, so you're not going to play my song? I went, no, it's not the genre. It's like, but I want to listen to it. You know? And I think every DJ has got this at least once, if not more than one time.
Oh yeah.
When someone comes and asks for something, it's completely irrelevant. It's or it's rubbish. I'm not a big fan of Cradle of Filth.
No, me either. Me either. Absolutely not. That's because I've met the guy. I mean, really, no.
Yeah, I mean, ironically enough, there's a couple of decent covers he did, which I quite like. I'll play sometimes if I'm doing a kind of rock night. But I got asked to play him, and I refused to play that. I says, well, I've got it, but it's rubbish. I'm not playing it, you know. And you stand your ground. You stand your ground.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Actually, I do remember with had a crowd jumping around to the likes of Offspring and Slipknot, and this girl was utterly convinced that Westlife would be a good plan.
Oh, yeah, of course it would be. Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing it now, you know.
Yes.
And that's the other one. They'll come and ask you for something you're actually playing. Like, can you play a song by this band? This is that band. Oh, about a year ago, I wasn't actually DJing at the time. My co-DJ was on, and I was just getting a drink at the bar, and this girl goes, "Can you play some goth music?" I said, "This is goth music. That's Bauhaus, but I want to listen to like The Cure and yeah, but this is Bauhaus. You know, you're in Northampton. We're based in Northampton, and Bauhaus are from Northampton. You know, you can't get any more goth than local than you want to playing that unless they turned up and did it themselves."
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. I bet you're looking forward to getting back on the decks after all this lockdown thing has subsided.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing the whole lockdown thing's been a bit weird because the venue I use has been open through the summer, so I've been doing a lot of DJing in the garden, which has been fine. It's been quite lovely. The sun's been out, but you have to finish by a certain time. You have to keep the volume down to a certain level, so the restrictions fall in there. So I'm waiting to see what we can get doing when. So the online thing will probably continue for a while. It might not ever stop permanently. I might keep doing it for the more obscure stuff that I do, because no one's going to come and watch that in a venue. So that maybe will stay online, which is the benefit of what we've done for lockdown. But I'm hoping probably end of May, June, might start being able to play again outside into venues. Might be just garden stuff for starters, but hopefully back in front of people.
Yeah, it's a different vibe,
It's
isn't it?
a bit like playing in your own room sort of thing to a chat room. It's odd. Yeah.
Well, look, seeing as this interview is going to be tagged up with CBDzine, we've got to probably ask you some questions on that sort of line of things.
Cool.
I mean, I understand it's not something that's majorly on your own personal radar, but do you have any personal opinions on the matter, whether that's for the recreational side of it or the medical side or any of it, really?
It's something I've tried. It's something that doesn't really agree with me. Drugs with me is something I don't like going along with. I always fight the effects. So it seems a bit pointless taking something that's supposed to put you in a particular mood or do something for you if you're not going to like going where it's taking you, which is what happens with me. I mean, I've had a couple of good occasions with cannabis, I suppose, when we've eating cakes and things like that. Not being a smoker, it's not something as a drug that draws me either. So I've never smoked in my life. majority is smoking and doesn't interest me. As far as the legality of it, why not? Bring it on, make it legal, tax it, regulate it so it's cleaner for people and safer for people to obtain. We don't want people running out to cities in the middle of the night, meeting dodgy people in the streets with machetes and things like that. It sounds a bit scary. My brother had a story where he went, because we used to live in Leamington Spa in Coventry, and he drove to Coventry in an area of Coventry called Hillfields to buy some dope. And this guy just brings it out on the car bonnet and slops it up with a machete, and it's like, yeah, we'll have everything you want, mate. Here's your money. It's scary. And
Wow.
I don't think any experience should be scary like that. I mean, you should be able to get it from a registered place where it's clean and safe, take it home and buy it. And then the use of it should be regulated in a way that you don't get it, don't take it, and you don't drive. You don't take it and go to work and drive a forklift. You do the so as well as the legality of freeing things and taxing it and then what have you. Then you've got the regularity to make sure people aren't doing wrong things with it at the time and putting others in danger and themselves to an extent as well. And I would say that with all drugs.
Yeah.
The problem with the making things legal is it makes it interesting. It puts money in the wrong people's hands. It makes things say unsafe. It brings in mixes and chemicals and things that people really shouldn't be taking into their bodies. Regulate it, tax it. The experiment is being done, I believe, in Portugal with some drugs where they've made it legal to an extent touching how and to take. I don't think it's as such legal to sell, but the illegality of it has been removed from the person who was actually doing the drug. And I think that takes away some of the bite for it. And then if people need help with something, they don't feel the stigma if they have a problem.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Well, we did an interview recently with a DJ called Mind Solvent from New Jersey. If you know QXTs, quite a well-known club over there, and he was saying about his cousin over in Colorado where they've legalized it and they've basically repaid their statewide debt. They've fixed education and fixed roads and all sorts of things, really. So it's often been said if we legalize it over here, we could repay our national debt.
Possibly too. I mean, the amount of money we spend on criminalizing it, chasing people for it, policing it, dealing with the aftermath from it as well, because it's driven so far underground and into the criminal world that we probably could solve a lot of other problems than that. I'm not saying that people won't have problems with it, because they will. People have problems with drink. People have problems with other things that are addictive and other things that cost money that they can't afford to spend money on. But in the main, I think if you take away the criminality of it, you can then invest. The whole society will benefit better by taxes for it, which can then be invested into dealing with some of the mess that some of these drugs do cause, and on other things.
Yeah.
As you say, roads, potholes. Yeah, potholes. There's another one for you. Potholes. Fix the pot tax with fix potholes with pot tax.
Right. Really. This was partly obviously the Crowbar down in Soho, I'm sure. And we did interview one of the first ones with Richard, the guy who runs and owns the place, and he was saying that if you if you did legalize it, suddenly you'd be pulling away a lot of revenue from gangs around Soho, around all over the place that rely on this income. And suddenly they're out of business. They've got to go get themselves another job. They've got to go work at McDonald's or somewhere or another.
Yeah, you're creating unemployment.
Well, yeah, that could be the downside. But I'd rather
in that world, there's always something else they'll do instead. still, and I don't think it's a bad thing to take money away from criminals.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. Well, let's see if we can link the whole cannabis side of what we're doing and your DJing and all that. It's often been said that cannabis and the like can enhance a person's enjoyment of music. And there's obviously been a lot of people inspired by various drugs, but let's stay off the harder ones, because cannabis being not really a drug, as it's often been claimed, which is probably very true, but can enhance a person's experience of music. It can also enhance their creativity within writing it as well.
Probably. I wouldn't have any basis to say on that. It's not something I've ever taken. I've only ever done other drugs while clubbing or even DJing. Once I've DJed on taking drugs, and I'll never do it again because you just haven't got the control or the understanding of what the hell you're doing, especially when back in the day it was CDs. So no, I mean, I don't think I could do that and DJ at the same time. Going out clubbing, yeah. I've had marijuana and in cakes and things when we've gone out at night. Sex is interesting. Marijuana, I'd like to say.
Okay, interesting, you say?
Yeah, that was an interesting experience. Yeah.
Tell us a bit more.
I don't know. It was a bit out there, really. It was quite interesting. I've done it was once, and we'd been out. We're supposed to go into a works do, I think. And my friend had made a load of brownie cakes. So me and the girl I was sort of seeing at the time, we've had some. Decided not to go to the works do and went back to the flat instead, and that was interesting. It was a bit surreal, really.
Yeah.
But that's, I think, the difference between, I think, eating it and smoking it is because the thing with taking anything inside you're constantly digesting it, and I think it takes a lot longer for the system to get rid of it, and you think you're coming off it, and then next minute, oh, here it comes again, sort of thing. By smoking it, it'll go away after a while, and so I don't mind eating it every now and again, but again, I don't like losing that much control over myself. So I like to. It does seem a bit pointless to me to keep investing in something I'm not going to enjoy, or try not to, or fight against to enjoy.
Yeah,
I can understand why some people would say it's good for the artistic side of life, and it does relax. It opens your mind probably a bit more if you go along with it, but not for me, not my thing. Mm-hmm.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
It has been quite a number of years since I've done any. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, fair enough, man. Fair enough. Well, I guess we should probably try and sort of start to wrap things up. You got any final thoughts you want to throw into the mix before we?
Not really. More on the. I mean, I think a lot of the going out culture does involve drugs. Involves marijuana, involves wherever else, and I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with some of the harder, more aggressive drugs. So I'd rather see someone having a night out on marijuana and being mellow and enjoying themselves than someone coked out of their arse being aggressive to people. Yeah, so I don't have a problem with someone being on marijuana coming to my events, because hopefully they're mellow, hopefully they're going to enjoy it. If we put food on, lots more money.
Yeah, true. It's going to inspire. Yeah, good shout. Good business opportunity there.
Yeah, but on a serious note, it's I don't have a problem with people being on drugs in venues, going to nights. If it becomes something that's legal that venues can sell, why not? A friend of mine, he was in a DJ group thing quite big at the time back in the 90s, and they used to tour all over the world. And he says, you remember going to this club in Holland, and he goes into the door, and there's these little bowls of stuff everywhere. And he goes, what are they? He says, it's ecstasy. And they just had bowls of ecstasy around everywhere for people just to take and stuff. And they never did it themselves. And he was like, oh, that's an interesting concept. Yeah, he says, yeah, just make it freely available. It's so people can buy it, take it when they want to. It enhances the night. There's no need to search people when they come to the door to check if they've got anything on them. We know what people are taking because we're supplying it, and it's there, and we make money from it. And that which then goes back into the venue and keeps the venue working. So yeah, make it legal, bring it in.
Yeah, makes sense. I guess if people are going to do it anyway, they might as well do it in a better and healthy way. Well, what was that great line from? What was that great line from Bill Hicks? It's George Bush says we are losing the war on drugs. You know what that implies? There's a war being fought, and people on drugs are winning it.
Yes. Well, Bill Hicks also did the big thing about the artists being on drugs as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Really couldn't play on drugs.
Cool. All right. So let's start to wrap this up. Listen, if people want to get hold of see what you're up to, is there any web links you want to let people know about? What people have to search for online?
You can check us up on. I'm on Twitter. Is it Twitch? I'm on Twitch and on Mixcloud. So Twitch, I'm on as DJ Bod. And Mixcloud, I'm on as DJ Bod Northampton. I think I'm on for those. So DJ Mixcloud has my recorded sets on it, and you'll find us on Facebook as DJ Bod as well. So anything I'm publishing, nights that I'm doing will appear on there, or on the Rapture as well on there. So you can find me on there. And
Cool.
if we see you, come and join us. Yeah.
Sounds good. I'm going to have a listen myself, definitely. All right, Bob. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for doing this again, and we'll hopefully get all back out there and start doing this with a crowd in the very near future.
Hugging people. Even people you don't like. Just for the sake you can. God, and you're awful. Thank you very much.
All right, dude. Cheers, man.